Hey, this is my client, Heather McAllister. She and I have been working together since August of 2022, and she's been willing to tell the story of what changes she's seen in her health since we first started together. So, Heather, would you mind just reminding me, kind of telling us what your health was looking like before you and I started together in August?
Yeah, great. I was really in a very kind of bottom of the barrel state.
Mhm.
I've always struggled with digestion issues my whole life. A lot of stomach pain associated with that, which then allowed or brought on a lot of anxiety around food. And then that in turn led to a lot of fatigue issues and energy issues and mood issues. I had dealt with a lot of depression and anxiety throughout my life as well. And I think I had been going through the motions of really trying to figure out what was going on with my gut and trying all these different types of ways of eating and things like that, and really just kind of falling short, coming up short, finding a solution to those things. So I was really just very frustrated, really low about it all, very depressed that uh, all of these things seem to work for everyone else except me. So I was I was pretty at the bottom of the barrel again, just really frustrated with all these things and not able to feel well.
Mhm. Yeah, and I know you mentioned too, like issues with fatigue. So, poor sleep, energy
Right.
loss just throughout the
Mhm.
day. Even, you're a strength and conditioning coach. And so you're dealing with strength concerns too and fatigue, which is
Right.
inhibiting what you can do at work. So just a difficult situation to be in and very prohibitive situation to be in. So can you tell me how you're feeling now since we started together?
Well, yeah, I mean, long story short, I'm feeling much better. I feel great. Um, the difference in even just how I am looking at food, if I need to have a meal and then go somewhere or a meal out, I don't have that circle of anxiety coming around when it's time to eat, thinking about what may come next because I may be in pain or I may be like really bloated or just not feeling well.
Mhm.
So the eating issue has gotten a lot better. I've started to become friends with my food again and really enjoying exploring making different meals and things like that instead of just being really rigid on, well, I know this one thing won't bother me, so I'm just going to eat that. And which in turn has greatly increased my energy. I have the energy to get through my own training as well as just a very long day of training others and all of the other things that are entailed with the things that I do at the gym and other clients that I have. Um, the the energy increase has really been a really big one because I was so tired for so long all the time that it would take everything I had in me just to get through the basic things that I needed to get through.
Mhm.
So that's been a really big a big benefit of this, and just not having the pain and bloating, feeling like I'm actually digesting my food and it's being used is a whole new feeling. Like I would always felt like I was eating and I wasn't getting anything from it. So now really feeling the food that I'm eating has like repaired that relationship for me, and has just let me be a little more relaxed in even just grocery shopping. Like it's not such a stressful situation anymore. So, and my sleep has improved. A lot of different lifestyle changes that you suggested I implement really have been helping that as well. And I mean, as we know, like if you're not sleeping, it's really, really difficult to get anything done or to heal at all. So that has been a really big benefit as well.
Mhm. And I just love to hear that so much, Heather, because you are making such an impact in the lives of your clients and in your community. So, you feeling enabled and empowered to show up fully in a way that's not exhausting you is, it's creating ripples in the world. So, I'd love to know, I know you mentioned earlier that you were trying all these different things prior to us starting together, and you were like, they're working for other people, they're not working for me. Do you feel there's anything in the approach that we took that really helped you and supported you in actually um, being able to experience these changes?
Yeah, well, I think your approach with implementing things and exposing me to things slowly, one at a
Mhm,
time, created a really stable foundation in order to build off of.
mhm,
I think, what I did and what many people do is, okay, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to
mhm,
completely stop doing all the things that I like and try this one thing, and just really uproot you from your routine, which causes stress in of itself. So
mhm,
how you approached the situation was you took things step by step and just had me implement one small thing at a time, really digestible portions, I should say. Uh, and then in that, feeling those little bits of increase allowed me to, first of all, understand the process of what was happening with myself, which is a really big deal in order to change a habit or to heal. If you don't understand what you're doing, you can't replicate it again.
mhm,
So, you always helped me by giving me all of the information and, secondary information that I could look up myself so that I could start to actually understand what the processes of my body were doing, how certain things would interrupt those processes, and how I could help best support them. And I think that was the biggest thing for me. There was definitely things that I would never have ever even tried before that people had suggested. Like, we were laughing about the liver.
mhm,
I would have never ever eaten raw liver in my life, or some of just the other things that you had suggested. But it was because I I then trusted what you were saying, because those other previous things were working,
mhm,
and I could understand it. And then that opened me up to be comfortable enough to try some new things that maybe were, a little more uncomfortable or, confusing to try. So like it made sense after a while. So I think the genius of the approach that you had with me, and what you probably have with others, is just doing those little baby steps, or just little step by step, so that you can feel comfortable, um, seeing those changes, and then really feeling those changes, and then allowing for some of, like, maybe the other stuff to filter in around that, so that to keep that healing process. So that was a really big deal for me. I've worked with a lot of people before, and not that any of them were not qualified, but I think the approach was just much different. You obviously care about what you're doing and the people that you're helping, and that comes across so crystal clear that that allows, those that you're working with to let our guard down and trust the process and really give it a try.
mhm. Thank you so much, Heather. That means so much, and I really do. I am so passionate about what I do, and I do so deeply care for all of my clients too. I actually pray for y'all too. Um, so I'm curious. You're talking about some concerns with your physical body, right? Like your gut, and then pain, and sleep. So these are things that we can see, we can test, we can know. And then interconnected with those is, an anxiety about your gut health, and then just feelings of like being down or depressive feelings. So can you tell me, if you'd realized anything or learned anything that's helped you moving forward about the connection between the mind and the body?
Well, I mean, it was apparent to me before that those two things are very interconnected, but then in working with you and starting to understand some of the more scientific, things that are happening, and how things affect each other, it kind of blew my mind at how
Mm,
interconnected they all are. Like,
mhm,
our bodies are a working, functioning machine, and everything needs the other part. So when we just solely focus on the one thing, the one squeaky wheel, and don't address the other stuff, that it never really is going to repair that one squeaky wheel, because chances are what's causing that squeaky wheel is down the chain.
Mm.
And our emotions, how we're feeling, are, we tend to think of them as these like air floating in the, floating around, like it's not really real, it's not tangible, but they have a real tangible effect on our bodies. Our cells are holding in all of the things that we're feeling. Like it creates a domino effect. And so seeing that and then starting to understand that again, really made me focus on the whole picture instead of just the food. Okay. My stomach is hurting, my gut is hurting. Okay, so it must be food related. So, and that's what I did for a very long time. I must be allergic to something. Maybe this isn't agreeing with me. Well, that is a part of it. A bigger part of it is all of the other stuff that we just tend to, push aside. So understanding that interconnectedness of our mind and body made me be able to start healing in a more well-rounded way.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, I just love that. And I love your analogy of just focusing on the squeaky wheel versus why
Yeah,
it's squeaking in the first place. Yes.
right.
So, well, thank you so much, Heather. And is there anything else that you would like to add about the process, your experience, anything you would like to say to other people who are in a similar situation that you were in, anything at all?
Yeah. So, I mean, anybody that is having any sort of issue that keeps coming up and keeps popping up, that you haven't been able to really find a solution for, I think I would just have a word of encouragement to keep opening doors.
Mm.
There are so many doors that are in front of us. We have our conventional medicine, which is what's pushed at us most often. And there is definitely a place for it. But I think a lot of times that system is so overworked and overloaded. And it really is just a small part of the healthcare system that we should be looking into. So oftentimes we get a medicine or this or that quick fix because we're busy and all of this kind of stuff. But that may just add to the problem, may cover something up for a little bit, but not really healing. So I would just keep encouraging people to keep opening doors. Look at things that maybe sound weird to you. Maybe you don't understand them all the way. But the thing with those kinds of practices is that we don't understand them. So we should look into them. The more that we educate ourselves about what is going on with us, then the more in control we are of our own selves. I think the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway that I've got from this process is that I now feel capable of being able to figure out, if something comes up, what is wrong. And because now I'm building my education on my body, on my mind, on the inner workings of what's going on. And that's powerful. We have moved so far away from being able to understand ourselves and being in tune with what our body's telling us and being in tune with our environment, that a lot of our like what our ancestors just naturally did, we don't do anymore because we're so far out of that system of thinking. So the more that we can be in tune with ourselves, the more we can understand about everything that goes on within us, the more control we ourselves have of our own health and well-being. We are our most valuable possession, and leaving that in anyone else's hands can be really dangerous, because no one's going to care about us the way we do, because it doesn't matter to them. So I think having that ability, and just the resources of things that you've showed me to be able to look into, is I think the biggest thing. There is an answer. There is a reason why something doesn't feel right. And just because maybe someone or a doctor or whatever dismisses it and says, well, that's just the way it is, you don't have to accept that. You don't have to accept that this is the way it is, because there is more. There's always more.
Mm. Yeah. And you have realized and resourced your power as your own healer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I still have the note, the very first note that you sent along with some tea, that it says just a little square and it says, you were made to heal yourself. And that is still on my refrigerator. And I look at it every day. And some days, like, I just stare at it, because that is so true. Like, we're made to feel okay. Like, we should feel okay. That we get used to feeling not okay. And but that doesn't have to be our baseline. We can have a better baseline than that if we work for it.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, so well put, Heather. So eloquently said. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience and your time. I appreciate it so much.